Hello, good evening. Welcome to the introductory meeting related to the College Corridor Plan. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Ian Williamson. I'm the project manager for the Corridor Planning Program at the City of Saskatoon's Planning and Development Department, and I'll be facilitating this evening's meeting. As we meet virtually this evening, the City of Saskatoon respectfully acknowledges that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory and traditional homeland of the Métis, and part of our roles in planning for the future of the College Corridor Plan, we will strive to plan for and move together toward outcomes that have positive effects in the lives of First Nations, Métis, Indigenous, and non-Indigenous peoples, both current residents of this place and future newcomers for generations to come. I'll get into our agenda very shortly. I just wanted to take the opportunity to welcome our ward councillors this evening. We have Ward 6 Councillor Cynthia Block and Ward 1 Councillor Darren Hill, both of whom are joining this evening. The College Corridor Plan, actually, the study boundary does include Ward 6 on the south of College Drive and Ward 1 north of College Drive. So I'll ask our producers to spotlight our councillors for a greeting on behalf of City Council. So we can start with Councillor Cynthia Block.
Well, thank you very much. And I want to welcome everyone here tonight for this introductory session for the very first corridor plan. We've been waiting a long time to have an opportunity to have a discussion about how to build our city better and in partnership with our community. And this is going to be our opportunity to work with the residents and other stakeholders to get this right as we move forward as a city. So I'm excited about the opportunities, and I know there will be challenges. As we've seen in the past, I think that we know we need a better process. And I think this is certainly a very good step in the right direction. I'm very hopeful that as we move through it, we will learn better ways to build our city more sustainably, economically, and environmentally. And I think that we have some wonderful opportunities thanks to the work of many people. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank our staff for not just organizing this, but for all of the incredible work that has gone into the planning to build a city that is going to be prepared to be a bigger city with a bus rapid transit system and ways of the world that we are more used to in larger centers. So I just want to say thanks to everyone, and I just want to acknowledge a big welcome to Councillor Hill. And I see on the line, there's at least two other of our colleagues on the line. Welcome as well to Councillor Curtin and Councillor Goff. Thanks very much, everyone. Let's have a great night.
Well, thank you very much, Councillor Block. And we're happy to have you here and participate. And those are very, very thoughtful words. So thank you. I'd also like to welcome Councillor Darren Hill for greetings as well.
Thank you very much, Ian. Earl Nightingale said, everything begins with an idea. On behalf of our colleagues on City Council, the residents of Ward 1 and the citizens of Saskatoon, I'd like to welcome you to the College Corridor Planning Session, where your ideas and innovation can change this area where people live, work, study, and where they visit. And unfortunately, even though COVID has changed how we would normally gather to have this conversation and share ideas, it hasn't diminished the interest and passion around this project. Thank you to each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy lives to be with us tonight. I'm excited to hear your thoughts and ideas about the College Corridor, which is Councillor Block had identified as the first of 10 corridor plans that the city's developing. We're going to be talking about opportunities, challenges, the stories and history around the area, and how we can make this the best possible place that it can be for people, for all people. Many thanks to the administrative team from the city who have poured countless hours into this project. This reimagining would not be possible without the dedicated team from planning and all the other supporting departments from the city of Saskatoon. So thank you to each and every one of you. I'm honored to share the College Corridor Planning area with Councillor Block, who is extremely passionate about this project and never ceases to amaze me with her dedication, communication skills, and organizational prowess. I learn something from you every single time that I get the opportunity to hear you speak, Councillor Block. In closing, Robin Williams said, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. So I'd like to thank everyone again for participating And I look forward to hearing what your words and ideas are and how we can change this piece of the world right here in Saskatoon. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening.
Well, thank you, Councillor Hill, and thank you again to Councillor Hill and Councillor Block. We thank you both for attending this evening and also for your participation and support as we move through this process. And as you said, the first of many corridor plans, or making sure that we do want to get this process solid, because it will really be transformational. So I'd also like to introduce our corridor planning team, some of whom you'll see on screen later tonight, some of whom are in the background running some of the technical aspects. So as I said, my name is Ian Williamson. I'll be your facilitator for this evening. Lee Smith is in the background, who is our producer this evening, running some of the technical aspects. Jason Sick and Patrick Lowe are moderators for this evening's meeting, so they're tending to the questions and comments that are coming through our chat functions. And Ty Cherniak will be providing a presentation on the baseline conditions of the College Corridor Plan later this evening. So just a couple of housekeeping items for this meeting. We will be taking questions later in the evening. So if you do have a question, you can type that into the question and answer chat function. As I said, our moderators, Jason and Patrick, are monitoring those questions throughout the evening. And we're going to try to get to as many questions as we can this evening, time permitted. However, for any questions that we can't verbally respond to in that time, please continue to watch the chat function, because we're going to try to respond to some of those questions directly in the chat function for those that we can't respond to verbally. Please ensure your questions or comments are appropriate and they don't include any inappropriate language, otherwise they will not be posted. There's also a like or a thumbs up function on the questions too. So if there are questions in the chat that you think are good questions or want those to be responded to, our moderators will attempt to try to sort of prioritize some of the questions with the more likes or thumbs up if we're under a time constraint. Finally, I'll just mention there's a bit of a delay as well with the Teams Live platform we're using this evening. So the live stream does lag to the audience about 10 or 15 seconds. So there may be a bit of a delay in the question and answer. Just so that you're aware of that, please be patient and bear with us. Our moderators are aware of this, and they will be answering your questions as best they can. Just to review our agenda this evening, we do have a bit of a survey that we've produced that we'd like to introduce you to, and where you can find that and how to stay involved throughout this process. It is going to be a consultative process, so we do want a lot of feedback. There'll be a presentation on the College Corridor Plan, some of the processes, some of the objectives that a corridor plan is trying to achieve. Ty again will be presenting a brief presentation on some of those baseline conditions, which are really some of the existing conditions of the College Corridor segment area. We'll have our time for question and answers, and we're hoping to wrap up everything in about an hour's time, and we'll let you know sort of some of the next steps. So the meeting tonight, really the objective is really just an introductory session, and we'll let you know exactly how you can stay involved going forward for more interactive workshops. So before I get into the presentation, I just want to let you know how you can provide feedback right now for the College Corridor Plan. There is a survey that has been developed regarding the College Corridor Plan, and that can be found on our website at saskatoon.ca/corridor. We're looking for your feedback about the college plan. You're the local experts. You live there, if you use the area, or visitors of the space. So please take some time to provide feedback through that survey. Our team will be providing and analyzing that feedback and reporting those results back at future engagement events. And we'll also be posting those online, any reporting through our website as well. And really that website is the best way to keep updated on any future events or any opportunities to participate. You can sign up for our e-newsletter on that website as well if you want to be emailed any opportunities and any information or news related to the College Corridor Plan. And you can also contact myself directly if you have any questions or wish to discuss anything further about the project. But that really is the main website where we'll be streaming everything, and will you be able to find all the information regarding the College Corridor Plan going forward. So I'm going to jump right into our first presentation. I'm just going to be providing some context for the College Corridor Plan, the expected process, some of the deliverables of a corridor plan or what it hopes to achieve, the estimated timeline. So this may be a bit of a repeat for some of those members who have had some preliminary engagement sessions with our team. So I'll try to be brief and focus really on providing just the context. And again, there's more information through our website. And again, feel free to reach out to any of our team members if you do want more information or to set up a one-on-one session that we can give you more information regarding the College Corridor Plan. So I'll just provide a bit of a background of where the concept of corridor planning came from. So corridor planning was defined through the city's growth plan. It was incorporated within the city's official community plan. So the growth plan examined how the city of Saskatoon would grow to 500,000 people. And there were some fundamental concepts that were determined as part of that process. The main ones being that the city needed to rebalance growth, provide more opportunities than just suburban growth on the edge of our city. And we also needed to improve how we get around our city. So the bus rapid transit system is being planned to address the need for a higher efficiency transit system. And you can see those future bus rapid transit routes are identified by the black dashed line. Now to complement that new transit system and rebalance some of those growth patterns, the major transportation corridors along those bus rapid transit routes were determined to be able to accommodate further growth through something that was referred to as corridor growth. So as you can see by the pie chart, the growth plan does have a target to rebalance its growth the city's growth patterns. So the target does set out a goal of, as we grow to 500,000, that 50% of new growth would still occur in our suburban neighborhoods. 25% of new growth would be in those strategic infill areas, and those are really those large opportunity areas that can accommodate large-scale development, such as downtown and the University of Saskatchewan development land. And then growth along the corridor growth area is targeted to accommodate 15% of all new housing opportunities. So as our councillors mentioned, the corridor growth area has been divided into 10 segment areas. Again, that follows and is aligned with the future bus rapid transit routes along major transportation corridors. And the corridors were divided into smaller segments to really address those local challenges, those local opportunities, and the unique characteristics that each corridor segment may have. So as mentioned, the College Corridor segment is the first corridor plan to be undertaken as part of this program. The College Corridor study area boundary includes College Drive from the University Bridge to Preston Avenue, as well as Preston Avenue from 14th Street East north to the Canadian Pacific Rail Line. The study area boundary has not changed, but I just want to note that there has been a new map that has been created for the College Corridor Plan. So some of you might be familiar with the map on the left-hand side, that sort of blue blobbed map that might be difficult to read or sort of place yourself where things may be. So the new map was created with features such as aerial photographs and more details and context so that can be provided for anyone that views that map. That map is available and actually can be found on our website, again, at saskatoon.ca/corridor. So what decisions have sort of been made to get to this point? So as I mentioned, the growth plan, the corridor transformation plan, and the official community plan have all set that direction and the principles of the corridor planning program. And since April of this year, we've been meeting one-on-one with organizations and community members on how we can best work with community members. Essentially, how should we be engaging? And that really helped to inform our engagement strategy for this project. So currently we're in about the first phase, or just sort of kicking off the College Corridor Plan. And I'll get into some of the objectives and timelines shortly. But ultimately, this plan is a consultative plan with a lot of community input that leads to a plan being presented to City Council for their consideration of approval. And then at the end of that corridor plan, as we build out the program, we'll be revisiting and tailoring our engagement strategy to proceed with the next corridor segment. So what exactly is a corridor plan going to achieve? Well, let's look at some of those objectives or deliverables of a corridor plan. So I mentioned land use and density is sort of a large part of the growth plan to encourage growth along the corridors. So a corridor plan will examine each area specifically for where this can be accommodated. So, there are probably areas in the College Corridor Plan that are more appropriate for density or more appropriate for certain land uses. And there may simply be areas that aren't appropriate. So, and there also may be some areas that maybe need some additional context or special considerations. So through this process, the plan's goal is to set some of those expectations for land use so that there is that certainty for residents. There is that certainty for where that land use is expected, and there's a certainty for developers as well. Public realm is another major deliverable of a corridor plan. So how can the streetscape be improved? What amenities may be needed to make the corridor a more inviting place for users, visitors, or residents of the area? So these could include public art, street furniture, design elements, sidewalk reconstruction. Essentially, how do we reimagine a corridor from a busy street for traffic into a place for people? Park and open space is also something that the corridor plan will explore. With added density expected on the corridors, what opportunities exist for the efficient use of park or open space? Is there an opportunity for more usable space for the public and residents in the corridor area? Or are there existing spaces that could be enhanced or improved so that they're functioning more efficiently? And again, with added density, infrastructure requirements are also likely. So the corridor plan will look to address what upgrades may be needed to accommodate expected growth. So the corridor plan will look at ways to address some of those servicing needs in regards to water, sewer, and transportation. But it'll also look at ways to through that, if there's potential pedestrian safety issues or local traffic issues if they exist, or how upgrades to the infrastructure could benefit the local corridor and surrounding neighborhood and not just the street solely itself. And finally, the corridor plan will examine how to address some of the challenges. So, we've heard through our preliminary engagement, and we do know that there are challenges that come with development. We want to know what those challenges are from you, again, as a resident, as a user, as a visitor of the space, to ensure that the corridor team is identifying those challenges and strategizing on what can be done to try to relieve or mitigate some of those challenges. We probably won't be able to solve every problem, but we do want those challenges identified so that they're not ignored and they can be examined appropriately. We do also know that there are probably opportunities along the College Corridor Plan, and we also want to know about what opportunities can be taken advantage of to again improve the College Corridor and make it a place for people. Corridor plan has 3 major phases. So the College Corridor is currently in that foundational phase or first phase, which really is assessing, the current conditions of the College Corridor. And again, identifying what challenges and opportunities are there existing before we move on to that planning stage. So phase 2 really includes a bulk of the work, which is sort of some of the changes or some of the solutions that come through that, and that will really be the more interactive type of engagement that we're looking for. So we'll be looking for future feedback through interactive workshops, determine some of those deliverables like what does a public realm master plan look like? How does the street improve? What land uses and density levels are most appropriate and where? And what infrastructure upgrades may be needed? And finally, phase 3 is really bringing all those elements together into an action plan. So when can those be implemented? How can they be implemented? And what steps need to be taken to make that happen? So the estimated time to complete a corridor plan is approximately 1 year. The College Corridor Plan is the first corridor plan to be undertaken. So, we are estimating at this point. So as the first corridor plan, we want to ensure that we're building a solid process and we're setting the stage for future corridors, and we want to be able to adapt and hear your feedback. So again, over the coming months, that focus will move to that planning stage and that action plan stage. And that's really where the bulk of the engagement and workshops will occur, where we can get that input related feedback. So with the target of a final plan to complete the College Corridor Plan by the summer of 2022. So that concludes just the presentation on the corridor plan process and objectives. At this point, I'm just going to ask if our producer could spotlight Ty Cherniak, and he's just going to be providing a brief overview of some of our baseline conditions or existing conditions of the College Corridor.
Thank you, Ian. And thanks everyone for taking the time to virtually attend. My name is Ty Cherniak, and I'm one of the planners working on the College Corridor Plan. So for this part of the presentation, as Ian said, I'm going to give kind of an overview of the baseline conditions of the study area. Just bear with me. I'm going to bring up our, just share some maps as we kind of take a tour through the study area. So to start off, I'm just going to attempt to orient us all on the map and go over some of the statistics of the study area. So things like how many people live and work there. And then I'll move on to other topics like open space, the transportation network, and some of the heritage assets in and around the study area. One thing I actually wanted to quickly add with regards to the heritage assets that are identified on our slides, on our maps, I wanted to give a shout out to the Saskatoon Heritage Society, who volunteered their time over this past summer and has provided additional considerations and insight into some of these heritage assets. So things like important viewscapes and architecture or stories about the College Corridor. So that inventory of heritage assets will be available on our website in the future. And moving forward, the corridor team will be referencing that inventory when we start to look at specific parts of the plan, like land use and the public realm. So if anyone from the Heritage Society is out there tuning in, just wanted to give you a thank you for all your hard work on that. So overall, the study area covers approximately 470 hectares. So at the last census, there was almost 1,300 people, 1,290 people living in the study area, which doesn't include the significant student population on campus in residences and off campus in the College Corridor. In terms of employment, there are almost 300 employees in the study area that would be south of College Drive. And then there's obviously the University of Saskatchewan to the north, which is a major employer with approximately over 5,000 full-time academic and non-academic employees. And then we also have the Royal University Hospital. So there's some major employment generators on the north side of College Drive. Obviously, not all these people are working and living on campus at the same time. We're just trying to highlight the significance that the university has to the corridor, just based on the large student population and employee populations there. Now I'll take us on sort of a tour through the study area and identify the types of land uses that are currently there. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit closer so we can get a bit of a better look. Just wanted to actually, as a disclaimer, we will be posting the slides on the webpage after the presentation in the next few days or so. So I realized that it might be, especially if you're viewing on mobile or on your phone, it might be hard to view some of the text. Just so you know, the slides will be available. So the north side of College Drive provides the main interface with the University of Saskatchewan and the Royal University Hospital, and also the new Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. There's also several properties with heritage or historic value that have been identified that are located along both sides of College Drive. For instance, the Memorial Gates, Bottomley House, the historic Moose Woods Trail that runs along the river valley, just to name a few of them. The next slide, we're showing the map of the road network. So as I mentioned earlier, or as Ian mentioned, the study area is anchored along the corridors of College Drive and Preston Avenue. With regards to the mode share, that's how many people are driving versus walking versus biking in the study area. There is a proportionally higher amount of people walking and biking and using transit in this area. You could maybe assume that would be attributed to the proximity to the university and the hospital. So for instance, there's over 5 times more people walking to work compared to the rest of the city in the study area. Twice as many people are biking. The next, we're going to give an overview of the active transportation or the pedestrian cycling conditions within the study area. So most of it is served by sidewalks, other than those that are indicated on the map in this dark blue, which are streets that are missing sidewalks. Currently, Saskatoon's bicycle network, it mainly consists of both on-street and off-street facilities or bike lanes within the study area. The existing network is indicated mostly by the pink lines, which run along the river valley. So that's the paved multi-use trail. And it also, there are sections that run along Preston Avenue and portions of College Drive here. Here we are, we have a map showing the existing not just park spaces, but informal green space and some public recreational facilities that are located in the study area. I'll zoom in again to get a little closer look. So when we factor in the river valley, the large number of open spaces on campus and within the College Corridor, just Bowl and here in the College Quarter, it does feel like there is a lot of park space, but in terms of actual programmable park space, it is somewhat limited in the study area. Portions of Cosmopolitan Park here over hugging River Valley is really the only city of Saskatoon park within the study area. So that's something that the corridor plan will need to be considering as it's developed. So if we're talking about a plan that's going to potentially increase the number of people living and working in this area, it makes sense that there should be some proportionality to how much park space is available to those people. Or if we're, to put it another way, if we're increasing the amount of people, the demand on existing park space is going to increase. So how do we account for that? Just a couple more slides to go through. This one, I'd like to show how the College Corridor Plan fits in the context of other existing city plans. So what we're showing here is plans that are already in place by the city. So in blue, we have the city center plan. In maroon, this would be the Nutana local area plan and the Varsity View local area plan in green. And then the university sector plan is shown outlined in the green hatched outline. So there's a few existing plans that are already occurring within the study area. Next, this map, we're basically just trying to provide some context to what's planned for the adjacent University of Saskatchewan lands, which take up a pretty significant portion of the study area. So what this map shows is the different development areas that have been identified by the university through their own plans. So for example, the orange shows us the College Quarter, which is mainly going to be devoted to student residences. The pink would be the core university campus, green or agricultural research plots. So the reason I'm mentioning these is that throughout the corridor planning process, we intend to, a major part of that process is identifying which areas have the potential or would be suitable for infill development. And the flip side of that coin is also identifying areas that are maybe not expected to accommodate infill, but where the public realm might still require some attention once the BRT system is introduced. So that's why we're kind of showing the context of what's already happening with the university lands. I believe that was the last for the baseline conditions. So that concludes this portion of the presentation. Thanks everyone for taking the time out of your evening. Please continue to post your questions in the Q&A. We'll try to get to as many as we can. And I will hand it back over to Ian now.